Hare Krishna. So welcome everyone to our Srimad Bhagavatam review class. Thank you for joining in. We'll begin with our prayers. Om Ajnanatirmirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshuro Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Padamahim Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namaste तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्यैव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामी निति नामिने नमस्ते सरस्वती देवी गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देश तारिणी जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासदि गौर भक्त वृंद हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे. Hare Krishna, welcome everyone. We are on chapter 3, canto 3, and last time we discussed 12th chapter. So in this 12th chapter, we heard how Brahmaji started creating secondary creation, and he created, first of all, he created the four Kumaras, and the four Kumaras, they were given instruction to procreate, but they refused. They wanted to, devote their life. Vasudeva Parayana, they were Vasudeva Parayana. So they refused to procreate, and then Lord Brahma became angry, and because of that, Lord Shiva, Rudra, appeared from middle of the eyebrows. And then Lord Shiva was given instruction, okay, you procreate. Then he started procreating all the ferocious living entities, and they started devouring everything, including, they wanted to run behind Brahma and devour him also. Then Brahmaji told Lord Shiva, that Rudra, that you please stop procreating, you go to the forest and do tapasya. And Rudra, he went to the forest and he is doing tapasya in meditation. That's why we see the photo of the picture of Lord Shiva with his eyes half closed, meditating on the Supreme Lord. Again, Brahmaji started procreating. He procreated 10 sages, the headed starting with Marichi and all that. And the best part of the creation was Narad Muni. Then he created other Karda Muni and all the other Vasishtha, Atri and all that. Then he got attracted because of his daughter Vak. And that was another episode which was described there. But then because of the prayers of the sons, the Prajapatis, Brahmaji, he understood his mistake. Of course, it was by the mercy of the Lord, he understood. And then he gave up that mentality and again started procreating. He procreated so many different things. The four Varnas, four Ashramas, Dharma, Adharma, instigators of Dharma and Adharma, and the meters and all that. After this, he created, but still he was thinking that, oh, the creation is not increasing yet. As he was contemplating, two forms appeared from his body. One was male, another was female. And that was Swayambhu and Shatrupa. So that's what we discussed in the 12th chapter. Now today we'll be discussing 13th chapter, the appearance of Lord Varahadev. So today we'll be completing half of this chapter. It is a little long chapter and there are so many important things to be discussed here. So Vidura, he starts inquiring. So Shukdev Goswami is now speaking. So as we know, Bhagavatam is a conversation going on between Shukdev Goswami and Parikshit Maharaj, which is described by the sages of, which is described by Suta Goswami to the sages of Naimisharanya. So sages of Naimisharanya in the first canto, and that's how it starts. They assembled in the Naimisharanya, they to do tapasya for, to do sacrifice for 1,000 years. But still, only thing which was happening was their faces were becoming black. So then they approached Sut Goswami, please describe the glories of the Lord. And then Sut Goswami starts describing. And then in the end of the first canto, Parikshit Maharaj, he leaves everything because of the curse of Shringi, and he goes to the bank of Ganga. There he, by the will of the Lord, Shukadeva Goswami arrives, and then the conversation starts between Shukadeva Goswami and Parikshit Maharaj. So now in the first verse, Shukadeva Goswami is speaking. So we'll recite this verse. Shri Shuka Uvacha Ishamya Vacham Vadato Munehe Punyatamam Ripa Bhuya Papricha Gauravyo Vasudeva Kathadritaha. So Nishamya Vacham Bhagavato. After hearing all these, whatever the till 12 chapters, whatever Vidura had heard, so Vidura, he started inquiring. Munehe Punya Tamam Ripa. O king, Ripa. Ripa means here Parikshit Maharaj. Sukadeva Goswami is addressing Parikshit Maharaj that, O king, that this Vidura, he started inquiring. Papricha, Bhuyaha Papricha. Again he inquired from that great sage Maitreya Muni. Punyatamam. What was the characteristic of the topics? That was Punyatama, most virtuous topics. Vasudeva Katha Adritaha. And these topics of Krishna, Supreme Lord, he wanted to hear. So this first verse itself is very, very significant, and Prabhupada writes about various things in the purport. Adritaha, the word used is Adritaha. Adrita means he had a natural inclination to hear. Vidura, he had a natural inclination to hear about Krishna. Earlier we had discussed that when Vidura meets Uddhavji, he asks about Krishna. So he tells that I have heard enough of Dharma, Artha, Kama, Moksha. Paravaresham Bhagavan Vratani Shrutani Me Vyasa Mukhada Vikshnam Atripnumashulla Sukavahanam Tesham Rite Krishna Katham Ritoghat. I have heard enough of Dharma, Artha, Kama, Moksha from Vyasa. Mahabharat bahut suna hai, but still they have not satisfied. Those topics have not satisfied me. So then Uddhav may say, you have heard about Krishna also a lot, right? Oh, sorry. Vidura is telling to Maitreya only, not Uddhava. So after he reaches Maitreya, he tells, please tell me about Krishna. So Maitreya tells, oh, you have heard, you are son of Vyasadeva, you must have heard enough. He says, no, all these topics of Dharma, Artha, Kama, they have not satisfied me. Then Maitreya may say, you have heard enough of Krishna Katha also, right? So he says, who can be satisfied hearing about Krishna? Kastripnuya tirtha padobhidhana satreshu asuribhiridyamana. Who can be satisfied hearing about Krishna? So therefore, Vidura, again, he has, the word used is adritaha. He had a natural inclination to hear about Krishna. So therefore, if somebody has a taste for Krishna Katha, that person is very fortunate. Only a fortunate develops a taste for Krishna Katha. When Pradyumna Mishra, it comes in Chaitanya Charitamrita, he goes to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and he asks about Krishna. Please speak about Krishna. I want to hear Krishna Katha from you. So there, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu also tells the same thing. Krishna Kathaye Ruchi Tomar Bada Bhagyavan. Yar Krishna Kathaye Ruchi Sei Bhagyavan. You have taste to hear Krishna Katha, you are most fortunate. So the criteria of who is fortunate, who is unfortunate, if somebody has developed an attraction for Krishna Katha, he is fortunate. So therefore, Vidura, he is described here as Adritaha. He has inclination, natural. So Krishna Chakravarti Thakur writes, Maitreya thought, let Vidura hear me through these topics. May he be successful from my speaking the sweetness of Krishna. So very interestingly, Vidura was respected by Maitreya. Earlier also, Vidura, when he asked something, Maitreya said, you have inquired this. Actually, this is for my benefit. You have appeared for my benefit. So that is a wonderful relationship between audience and the speaker. The audience feels that, oh, hearing from you will get benefited, and the speaker thinks, because you have come, therefore I am getting chance to speak about Krishna. So therefore there is no cessation in Krishna Katha. So that's why Shukadeva Goswami is addressing Vidura as Adritaha. So this eagerness to hear Krishna Katha is there throughout Bhagavatam in various characters of Bhagavatam. Parikshit Maharaj, Maitra, Vidura, and so many of the other devotees, they are just eager. Whenever a question is asked, the speaker glorifies the audience, glorifies the person who has asked the question. So Prabhupada writes in this purport, unless one is very advanced in Krishna consciousness, one cannot stick to hearing the pastimes of the Lord constantly. It is not so easy to hear about Krishna's pastimes regularly, because everyone in this world wants to hear about his own glories. But if somebody does know you have to hear the glories of Krishna, that is very difficult. So therefore, devotees of the Lord, they are very fortunate because they have developed that taste for Krishna Katha. So that's how it is described here. Another place Bhagavatam describes that devotees, they are the seekers of essence. For them, Krishna Katha is as new, as attractive as topics of women are there for material men, materialistic men. Satamayam sarabhritam nisargo yadarthavani shruti cheta samapi. The devotees, they are sarabhritam, they are seekers of essence. Artha, Vani, Shruti, Chetasam, with their mind, body, words, they are always thinking of Krishna. Pratikshanam na vyavadachyutasya, for them, Krishna Katha is always new. Just like Striya Vitanam Yavasadhu Varta, for the materialistic people, the topics of women are always attractive. So therefore, unless one is very advanced, he can't hear Krishna Katha repeatedly with the same intensity. Somebody may hear Krishna Katha for the first time, some new information is there. So it is very, attractive. Maja aa raha hai, naya information mil raha hai. But if the same information is given again and again, then a new devotee will be little bit bored. Arey, suna hua hai, abhi nahi jayenge. Oh, ye the holy place, I have been there, I will not go. Naya jayenge. But for devotees, the holy dham, holy pastimes, they are always new. Just like Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Gadadhar Pandit, they would hear the pastimes of Prahlad and Dhruv Maharaj 100 times. Radharani and Krishna, they are discussing about devotee. They are not discussing Krishna Leela, Rasa Leela. They are discussing about Prahlad. They are discussing about devotees. So one time Radhika Prabhu was telling that the speaker of Bhagavatam is compared with various things. Sometimes speaker of Bhagavatam is like, if you have a soda bottle, it looks, if it is, closed, it looks like ordinary water. Nothing is, it looks like normal. But when it comes in front of the eager audience, when it is opened, then you can see what is there inside. It is like, another example is, it is like a CD. CD, normal, it looks like plastic. But if it is, when it is put on the CD player, then so many things come out. It is like a log of wood. When it comes in touch with fire, it starts burning. So therefore, the audience plays a very important role. So therefore, Vidura, he is very, very eager to hear. So now, Vidura asks a question. Vidura uvacha savai swayambhuva samrat priya putra swayambhuvaha pratilabhya priyam patnim kim chakara tato mune. So, what did Swayambhuva Manu do after getting his wife? This looks a very ridiculous question. Two renunciants, Maitreya Muni and Vidura, both have renounced their family and they are discussing family life of some other king. So, for our outside, it seems kya chal raha hai? They have left their families and now he's asking about In a family life, प्रतिलभ्य, अरे पत्नी प्राप्त करने के बाद स्वयंभुव मनु ने क्या किया? So that he clarifies why I am asking this question. I am not interested in the ordinary materialistic life of a materialistic king of this world. Who is Swayambhuva Manu? Swayambhuva Manu is not an ordinary king. So the three qualities of Swayambhuva Manu is described in this next verse. Charitam tasya rajarshe आदिराजस्य सत्तमा ब्रूहि मे श्रद्धानस्य श्रद्धानाय विश्वक्सेनाश्रयो ह्यसौ चरितम. Oh Maitreya Muni, please describe the charita, the character and the activities of Adiraja. Who is Adiraj? The original king. Swayambhuva Manu is the original king. So he is described as the original king. O best of the pious, virtuous one, please describe those activities and characters of the Adiraj. Why? Because I am eager to hear. Bruhi me shraddadhanaya. I am eager to hear and I have that faith. I am faithful and I am eager. And another quality of Swayambhuva Manu is Vishwaksena Ashraya. He has taken shelter of Supreme Lord. So that's how the sages, the Vidura is asking, oh, I am not asking what ordinary king of this world. Devotees are not interested. Wherever there is no Krishna, devotees are not interested in going to that place. Why we are interested in Kurukshetra? Because Krishna spoke Bhagavad Gita there. If Krishna is not there, we are not interested in any ordinary war field of this world. So that's how devotee is. Nayasya Vaikuntha Katha Sudhapaga Nasadhavo Bhagavataastadashraya Nayatra Yagyesha Makha Mahotsava Suresha Loko Pinavaisha Sevyatam. So a devotee is not interested in going to a place where Krishna Katha is not going on. Nayatra Vaikuntha Katha. Vaikuntha Katha is not happening. I don't want to go there. Nasadhavo Bhagavata, the devotee association is not there. I don't want. There are no festivals in glorification of the Lord. I don't want to go to that. Even if it is heaven. Suresh Lokopi. So therefore, Vidura wants to hear about Swayambhuva Manu because he is a great devotee of the Lord. So therefore, Rupa Goswami describes in Nectar of Devotion, there are 64 limbs described. 64 limbs of devotional service. All those 64 limbs of devotional service, they can be applied to devotees also. So worshipping devotees is better than worship of Krishna. Aradhananam sarvesham Vishnuradhanam param tasmat parataram devi tadiyanam samarchanam. So therefore, Vidura is interested in hearing about Swayambhuva Manu. He is the greatest of the devotees. Srila Prabhupada writes there that Bhagavatam is full of transcendental topics of Krishna and the devotees of Krishna. So hearing the topics of the Lord and hearing the topics of the devotees, they have the same result. No difference at all. You know, one time when Mataji, one Prabhupada disciple, she asked Prabhupada, what if at the end of our life, I can't remember Krishna and I remember you? What will be the effect? So what did Prabhupada say? Prabhupada said, yes, that's all right. It's same. Whether we remember Krishna or whether we remember pure devotees of Krishna, it will have a same effect. So therefore, throughout Bhagavatam, so many characters are asking about devotee association. Even Lord is standing in front. And what is devotee asking? I want devotee association. And we are getting ample of devotee association. Sometimes we think zyada ho raha hai, you know. Why so much of devotee association? Prahlad Maharaj, Dhruv Maharaj, everybody is asking the same thing. So therefore, Vidura, he wants to hear about Swayambhuva Manu, who is the greatest of the devotees. Now he gives another reason. Very beautiful verse, you know. He's confirming his desire to hear about devotees. What is the importance of hearing devotee katha, Vaishnava katha? He says, without hearing about the Lord and his devotees, all the knowledge is useless. Shrutasya pumsam shuchira shramasya nanmanjasa suribhiridito arthaha tattadgunano shravanam mukunda Padaravindam hridayeshu yesham Shrutasya pumsam suchira shrama. Those people who hear from spiritual master with great labor. Shrama, bahut shram karke. Suchira, for a long time, if you are hearing from your spiritual master, what they should hear. Nanvanjasa, certainly they should hear about Suribihi. Suribi means the great devotees. So from spiritual master, you should hear about the devotees of the Lord. Suribhiri. Why? Because, and they should hear Gunanu Shravanam. They should hear about the character. They should hear about the activities of the devotee. Why we should hear about them? What is so interesting? Padaravindam hridayeshu yesham. They have Krishna lotus feet in their heart. They have caught hold of lotus feet of Krishna in their heart. That's why we should hear. Devotee should hear about devotees. That is real austerity. Real austerity is to hear about Krishna and Krishna's devotees. That is the most important and most difficult thing which we have to do. Because it is easy to engage our working senses. It is very difficult to engage our knowledge acquiring. एक जगह बैठ के सुनना है, वो भी इसी में, all nice environment, और आप बोलते रहिए. So if you are not alert, naturally we will fall asleep. So to engage our knowledge, working senses, it is easy to engage our hands and legs. Even Janmashtami is coming. For 2 days, even if somebody doesn't sleep, usko aur seva do, he'll do the seva. But after third day Nandotsav, if somebody says, okay, aapko aaj din bhar baith ke katha sunna hai, 2 din usne seva ki hai. Third day, if he's told baith ke khali sunna hai aapko, not be able to hear, so jayega. So to engage our knowledge acquiring senses is very difficult. So therefore, in the initial days of Krishna consciousness, devotees are given more physical service so that they can get purified. The body can get purified. The mind will get purified slowly by chanting. The chanting purifies the mind. Scriptures purify intelligence, and association purifies false ego. If you want to get purified of false ego, then there is nothing better than devotee association. They can purify us the most. Even beyond.
If we chant for somebody else, it is purifying to us and to the other person.
If we'll get benefit the most, that person will also get some benefit because we are praying for somebody. Of course, we can offer our prayers for other person. So that is there. So therefore, Prabhupada writes, pure devotees of the Lord are as glorious as the Lord. Worship of a devotee is more potent than worship of the Lord. So therefore, we should hear about devotees from devotees, not from anyone else. We should hear about Lord from the devotees, not from professional reciters who are doing Bhagavad Saptah for some money. Prabhupada was very much against this Bhagavad Saptah. What is a Saptah? Bhagavatam should be always Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya. And if somebody is making money out of it, then he is just transferring his own material consciousness when he is speaking. Avaishnava mukhodgirnam putam harikathamritam shravanam naiva kartavyam. Even if somebody is speaking pure Harikatha, that's what is going on in all the various spiritual channels. Harikatha hi hota hai. But pure Harikatha also, if somebody is speaking who is not practicing, you should not hear. Sarpa uchishta yathapaya. It is like drinking milk which is touched by a serpent. So therefore, Vidura is telling, please speak about Swayambhuva Manu. And now, Maitreya Muni, he becomes very pleased. He's thinking, now I have got a listener who has real love for Krishna's glories. Hearing Krishna's glories, somebody who has real love for that. If somebody gets such listener, the speaker gets purified. So that's how Maitreya Muni becomes so very happy. And Shukdeva Goswami, he is telling how Maitreya Muni, he became so very pleased. Shri Shuka Uvacha Iti Bruvanam Viduram Vinitam Sahasra Shirshna Charanopathanam Prarishta Roma Bhagavat Kathaya Praniyamano Munirabhya Chashta Iti Bruvanam Vidura. So when Vidura spoke these words, which were Vinita, very gentle, very humble words. So Sahasra Shirshna, who is Sahasra Shirshna? That is Supreme Lord. So when Krishna went to Hastinapur for once, so Vidura, he put Krishna's feet in his lap and he massaged Lord's lotus feet. So therefore, Vidura is called as Charanopadhanam. He acted as a pillow of Lord's lotus feet. Charana Upadhanam. And when Maitreya Muni, he heard this, what happened? Prahrishta Roma. He became very pleased. He went into ecstasy. Why? Bhagavad Kathaya, Mare, we got a chance to hear, to speak about Bhagavatam. And who is the audience? Of pure devotees sitting in the audience. He's so very happy. Prahrishta Roma, his hairs are standing on end. And therefore, Praniyamano, being influenced by Vidura's spirit of devotion. So because Vidura had devotion, Maitreya Muni, he got devotion. That is the glory of the hearer of the Bhagavatam also. So if the hearer has a devotion to the Lord's Maitreya Muni, he is a Jnani. He was not a devotee earlier. He is Bhakti Mishra Gyan. He is Gyan Mishra Bhakta. His devotion was mixed with a conception of knowledge. And Vidura is a pure devotee. So when Vidura came in touch with Maitreya, Maitreya became devotee. So who got benefited? Maitreya got benefited. So that's how Bhagavatam, it is for everyone. The speaker gets benefited, the hearer gets benefited. And in this case, the speaker got benefited the more. He became devotee. From a Jnani, he became devotee. Just by getting a chance to serve the devotee of the Lord. It is not that Vidura was not a pure devotee. After hearing from Maitreya, he was enlightened. No. So just by doing this service, he gave pleasure to Vidura by speaking Harikatha. So that's how the mood of a speaker of Bhagavatam is very nicely, described here. What should be the mood? No. The speaker of the Bhagavatam should be the servant of the audience. Because of all these devotees, we are getting chance to serve. So that's how Maitreya is becoming a devotee. Because Vidura was a devotee. So therefore, Prabhupada writes, Maitreya was inspired by the thought of Vidura's wonderful fortune. It's very interesting. Maitreya, he was thinking how fortunate Vidura is. When we glorify others by seeing others' advancement in Krishna consciousness, we also advance equally. But this is so very difficult. To be happy in others' advancement is the most difficult thing. Because envy comes. But Maitreya is telling it by his personal example. Because he is glorifying Vidura's fortune, he also became benefited. So that is how bhakti in Krishna consciousness, advancement is simple. But it is not so easy. We have to just be happy in seeing others' advancement. Aap aage badhte raho, and we'll glorify you. But that is most difficult. We may say, Arey Prabhuji, kitna acha aap bhakti kar rahe hain, but From heart it may not come. We are thinking इतना आगे आ रहा है, मेरे से बाद में आया डिवोटी बना, मैं डिवोटी बनाया, देखो कितना आगे चलेंगे. So this is very very difficult. Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, idam tu te guhyatamam pravakshyami anasuyave jnana vijnana sahitam yajgyatva mokshate ashubha. Oh Arjuna, because you are non-envious, therefore this knowledge will bring auspiciousness for you. So if we cultivate this mood of non-enviousness, then this knowledge will be auspicious for us. So hearing this, Maitreya Muni, he starts description. He says, after Manu and Shatarupa, Swayambhu Manu and Shatarupa appeared from Brahmaji, they offered obeisances to Brahmaji, and Swayambhu Manu, he asked, "Oh my father, how can I please you with our actions? Please tell me, how can I serve you?" So that is very, very important. This is, I think, some. So Swayambhu Manu asked, "How can I serve you, O my father?" So actually, Swayambhu Manu knows that Brahma is qualified, he is competent to do all this procreation. So he is giving me a chance to serve. So when some authority gives service, we should not think, I am serving. No, it is the mercy which the authorities are giving so that we can get benefited. That's what Swayambhu Manu is telling here. How can we please you by our actions? So Prabhupada writes, a father's duty is to bring up the son until he is grown. And when the son is grown up, it is his duty to render service unto father. So in the spiritual life also, initially, we may have been given so much love, care, affection. We all remember our initial days in Krishna consciousness. Kitna prem, laad, pyar karke, aare aaiye, program mein aaiye, and you were given special attention. जैसे हमारा Sunday feast के बाद, every Sunday feast after that, Namasakha Prabhu would announce, typical पूरा उनका announcement सालों से करते थे. जो भी नए भक्त आए हैं, कृपया करके खड़े हो जाइए, so that हमारे जो गेस्ट रिसेप्शन के हैं डिवोटी आपको उपहार तो देंगे ही, और कुछ लॉन्ग पक्का, it was like verbatim, he would repeat everything. So initially we may get so much of the attention, but later when we grow in Krishna consciousness, we should be ready to take up the responsibilities. Just like one time one devotee, one new person, he started coming to temple, and he would come for Shayan Darshan. So after Shayan Darshan, Bhagwan ko rabdi offer hota hai na, every Shayan Darshan, Shayan Aarti ke baad. So then the pujari, after every Aarti, Darshan would close, he would call this person, come, and he would give rabdi. Every day I am getting rabdi. So after a few months, he thought, I join हो जाते हैं. 1-5 मिनट के आने से यहाँ पे रबड़ी मिल रहा है, join हो जाते हैं. So then he joined, and the day he joined, again the pujari called and said, चलो अभी भी continue. So he called and said, वो नया वाला जो आ रहा है ना, you give him that. So that's how in initial days in Krishna consciousness, we may get so much of love, care, affection. That does not mean we should always depend on that. There are some devotees, if you don't encourage for their services, कोई बोला ही नहीं मेरे. Nobody came and said कितना अच्छा सेवा किया है, सेवा नहीं करूँगा. That means he is doing seva for encouragement and respect and prestige. So seva is to please the Lord and please the devotees of the Lord. So that's how, Swayambhu Manu is eager to serve now. Initially, people, they come to, sadhus to solve their material problems. Just like एक बार कुंभ मेला में पंडाल लगाया था, question answer booth. So one person came and said, Maharaj, मेरा एक question है, हाँ मेरी शादी कब होगी बताइए. So this is not a question you ask a sadhu, saintly person. So therefore, initially a person may get some respect, some love, some care, lots of love, of course. But you should not depend on that to continue the service. So therefore, Swayambhu is asking for service. Please give us the direction so that we can execute the duty. And by this service, we will get fame in this life and in the next life also. So that's how one should ask for service. And he should ask for service as per his capacity. So Swayambhu Manu is asking as per his capacity. Please give me your instructions so that I can work within my working capacity. That is the exact words in the translation. So we should serve as per our capacity. And we should be attracted to service, not to the products, byproducts of the service. There are some backups in our temple where you get lots of Mahaprasad. And there are some backups where you don't get any Mahaprasad. It's like 7 a.m. backup. That is the biggest backup, heaviest backup, or कोई Mahaprasad नहीं मिलता है. But Rajbhog backup करेंगे, बाकी सब backup में बहुत Mahaprasad है. So we should not be attracted to those services where we'll get lots of recognition and encouragement and respect. So that's how Swayambhu Manu is not so much eager to get respect. He wants to do service. So Prabhupada writes, Brahma is a direct recipient of Vedic knowledge, and anyone discharging his duty in disciplic succession from Brahma is sure to gain fame in this life and salvation in the next. So there should be no doubt whether I'll get successful in Krishna consciousness. If we are practicing, if we are serving, for sure we will get success. So therefore, Swayambhu Manu, when he asks such wonderful things, then Brahmaji, he starts replying. First of all, Brahmaji is already rejected by 4 sons. Anyways, he was so very discouraged. Can you imagine? First person, first service, you are made in charge for some service. और पहले व्यक्ति को बोला सेवा करो, बोला नहीं करूंगा. How will you feel? यार पहला सेवा में बोला और पहला ही ना बोल रहा है. Such discouragement. So Brahmaji is thoroughly discouraged by first refusal. But still now Swayambhu Manu is saying, "Aap seva bolo bas." What seva? Any seva I'll do. So Brahmaji becomes very happy. Brahma vacha Pritastubhyam aham tata Swasti stadvam shitishwara Yan nirvyali narida Sadhi metyatmanarpitam Pritastubhyam, O Tata, very lovingly, बहुत प्रेम से, अरे हाँ बोला सेवा के लिए, extra love is shown. Tata, oh my dear son, Pritastubhyam aham, I am very pleased with you. Swasti astu, all benedictions unto you. पहले आशीर्वाद दे दियो, हाँ बोलना मतलब सेवा करने के पहले आशीर्वाद. Swasti astadvam, O Shitishwara, O Lord of the worlds, I desire all blessings to both of you. Why? Yan nirvyali ke narida. Without any reservation. He didn't say any, conditions applied. Seva karunga, star mark hai udhar, without any reservations, without any nirvyali kena. Shradhi veti, you have surrendered yourself unto me. So no ulterior motives. So that's why he is ready to serve. Hiranyakashipu, when he did tapasya and Brahmaji appeared in front of him, he was doing royal glorification of Brahmaji, as if he is the supreme lord only. But what was the motive? Glorify karunga to aur kuch ho jayenge, to he'll give me immortality. That was duplicitous. But here Brahmaji says, Nirvyali kena, without any reservation, you are glorified. You are ready to do the service. Nirvyali kena. Shivram Maharaj, he was speaking a very strong sentence in one of the classes. Said, many times duplicity is present more in devotees than in non-devotees. Why? Because non-devotees, they are honest. हमको तो self gratification करना है. They are honest about it. But many times devotees, they pose themselves as advanced, but they have the desire for name and fame. और इतना मेरे को glorify करेंगे. I'll be known as a very advanced devotee. So there are more chances that we can become more duplicitous. So we have to be really careful. Nirvyali kena, without any duplicity. And he was saying that devotees can be the most duplicitous because we know the highest philosophy and we don't act on it many times. So that's how we have to be really careful. So Brahmaji is telling you are Shitishwara, O Tat. Tat means loving, a very intimate address, and Shitishwara, respectful address. Intimacy and respect, very difficult combination. When you are intimate with somebody, naturally you become little casual. That is called as familiarity breeds contempt. And if we behave casually, it will lead to casualty. So therefore, we have to be really careful. One time, Radhanath Swami Maharaj was there in his room, and Rajchandra Prabhu, he was there serving him. He's still serving Maharaj. So Giriraj Swami Maharaj called Rajchandra Prabhu and said, I want to talk to His Holiness Radhanath Swami Maharaj. And Maharaj and Giriraj Swami Maharaj, they're all very close friends. But still, very respectfully, His Holiness Radhanath Swami Maharaj. You could have asked, I want to talk to Radhanath Swami Maharaj. So therefore, if somebody is intimate, doesn't mean you lose your respect. So in the name of intimacy, we should not give up our Vaishnava dealings. Vancha, offer obeisances. So each and every detail in Krishna consciousness is very, very essential so that we don't become casual. So therefore, he is addressing with intimacy and respect also. It is very difficult, The more you become intimate, ye to itna patit hai, itna nalayak hai. He has all these faults. I know who he is. Why should I give him respect? No. He may have some conditionings, but the fact that he has come to Krishna consciousness, he wants to advance in Krishna consciousness. That is sufficient. That is the Swarupa Lakshan. Primary characteristic of a devotee is he wants to advance in Krishna consciousness. And all the other conditionings, they are secondary. That will go away in some time. Krishna says, Apichat Sudurachar, Durachar bhi nahi, Sudurachar. Even if somebody is most abominable in his actions. Bhajate Mam Ananya Bhak. If somebody is doing his devotional service, then sadhu, you should consider him to be a sadhu. So therefore, that's a very important thing. So Swayambhu Manu, because he surrendered spontaneously, Brahmaji became very, very happy. And Prabhupada writes, if son is unreservedly willing to be guided by father, father is 10 times more eager to instruct. So the ideal relationship of father and son is displayed here. Son is ready to serve the father, and father is ready to give all the blessings to the son. So hearing this, Swayambhu Manu said, "Acha, ho gaya, aur kuch seva nahi lagta hai." Just by saying yes, I think you are happy. So is there any other service? So then Brahmaji says, yes, we have 3 more services. Etavat Atma Jai Veera Karya Hi Apachiti Guru Shaktya Pramattair Vihyeta Sadaram Gatamatsarai. O hero, O Veera, Etavati Atmajar, your example is quite befitting a son. You have behaved, you have, conducted yourself in such a wonderful way. And this sort of adoration for superior is required. Karya hi apachiti. This is actual requirement for a subordinate. He should be giving all types of respect to the superior. And therefore he says, one who is beyond the limit of envy and who is sane accepts the order of the Father with great delight. So therefore he says, I am very pleased with you because you have 4 qualities. You have accepted my service as without any retention. Nirvyalikena. You don't want anything in return. You are Atmarpitam. You are surrendering yourself. You are Apramattair. You are sane. You are Saadaram. You are serving with great respect. And Gatamatsarai. You are without any 5 qualities. So because of all these qualities, Brahmaji is very, very pleased. In the 9th canto, when the conversation, the topic of this Yayati is going on, and he was cursed to become old, then he asks his sons to please exchange youth. So Puru agrees. So then in that there is one verse which is described. The 4 classes of sons. Uttama chintita kuryat, prokta kari cha madhyama, adhamo ashraddhaya kuryat, akarta uchcharitam pituhu. So the first class son is just without even telling, the son knows, Abhi, what should I do? Uttama chintita, he knows the mind of father. Just like Lakshman. Lakshman, when he went with Lord Ram, without even Lord Ram telling him, he constructed a beautiful hut for Ram and Sita. So that is a first class servant. Uttama chintita. And second class is prokta kari. Ek bar bola to kar do. Third class is adhamo ashraddhya. He does it although he knows isse kuch hone wala nahi. It will not work. Still fir bhi bola hai to kar dete. And the 4th class son is he doesn't do it at all. So therefore, Swayambhu Manu is glorifying that you are a first class son. So after this, Swayambhu Manu, when he accepted, okay, I want to serve, and Brahmaji, he becomes so very happy that, okay, he is accepting this service. Service is the greatest treasure. Service is not a burden. Bahu parishram kari chandan remuna anila ananda badila mane dukha na ganila. Madhavendra Puri, when he was given order, you bring chandan. So he was not thinking, mujhe hi kyun bola? First time you came in the dream, you told, okay, now you make a temple for me. Second time, Lord came in the dream of Madhavendra Puri, said, now we jao Jagannath Puri. You get chandan for me. So he's not thinking whether every time he's telling me, and he didn't send his disciples. Mujhe bola hai na, jao. You go and get chandan. No. Ananda badila mani. He was very happy. He was not counting itna problem hua. Sometimes when we are given some service and we are not able to sleep properly, late night ho gaya, so then we count 4 घंटे सो 2 घंटे का नींद बचा है और 1 घंटे का नहीं और 15 मिनट कम सोया हूं. दुख ना गणिला, he is not counting his miseries. So therefore, if somebody gives service, that is a great gift. So Brahmaji becomes very, very happy. And then he gives 3 instructions. So after describing the true nature of the son, now he is giving the instructions. He gives 3 instructions. He says, first instruction is, please beget children similar to you in quality. So Brahmaji knows that this personality is such a wonderful personality, such an obedient person. You beget children similar to you. Second, you rule the earth religiously. And third, worship the Lord through sacrifices. And Prabhupada writes, every human being should beget nice children in the womb of his wife as a sacrifice. This is sacrifice, to beget nice children. And then if the 4th thing he says is, by this you will please me and you will please the Lord. So that is the purpose of entire cosmic manifestation. to please the Supreme Lord. And when the king is a devotee of the Lord, then naturally all the citizens will become devotee of the Lord. Apipala dharma raja pitrivat ranjayan praja nispriya sarvakamebhyo Krishna padanusevaya. That is described about Yudhishthir Maharaj. He was such a wonderful king. He was taking care of citizens like children. Pitrivat, just like father takes care of the children, he was taking care of the citizens. But personally, he had no material desire. Nihispriha, sarvakamebhyo, Krishna padanuseva. He was always engaged in serving Krishna. So that's how Brahmaji is telling, okay, you please procreate and rule and worship. In this way, you will please me. So now, so I'm going to ask, why one should please the Lord? What is the reason to please the Lord? Then Brahmaji speaks this beautiful verse that if one doesn't please the Lord, all the endeavors are useless. Yesham natushto Bhagavan Yagyalingo Janardanaha Tesham Shramo Parthaya Yadatmanadrita Swayam Yesham na tushto. If he is not satisfied, he means Lord, Supreme Personality, who is Yagyalinga, who is the form of sacrifice. He is Janardana. Then Tesham Shramahi Aparthaya. All his labor is futile. Yad Atman Adrita Swayam, because if he does not satisfy the Supreme Lord, he will never be satisfied. If somebody is not able to please Krishna, all his endeavors will be in vain. So therefore, when the Lord is pleased, he gives knowledge, and that knowledge destroys the ignorance, and then one can be happy. That is a sequence, that is an equation. How one can be happy, how one can be liberated. If Lord is not pleased, whatever we are doing, whatever hard work we are doing, it is all shrama evahi. It is all useless waste of labor. And Prabhupada writes that Lord is satisfied by simple things. He doesn't need big things. Just the 9 limbs of devotional service are enough to satisfy the Lord. Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu, Smaranam, all that. If you have no devotion, even if you offer millions of dollars, Lord is not satisfied. Just like in the case of Sudama, he brought 4 palmfuls of chipped rice, and when he came to Dwarka, he was thinking, Dwarka Deshan, and I have brought small chip, some broken chipped rice. Abhi bheek mein kya milta hai? All the 3rd grade quality material. So I was thinking, I have brought this 3rd class chipped rice. How can I give this to Supreme Lord? So Krishna understood the mood of Sudama. So he says, Kim upayana manitam brahman me bhavata grihat. Oh my friend, what gift you have brought for me? फ्रेंड से पूछते हैं ना, घर से क्या लाए? भवता गृहात, कुछ तो दिया होगा ना भाभी ने. किम उपायन, व्हाट उपहार यू हैव ब्रॉट फॉर मी? सो सुदामा मैंने, अरे क्या छोटा मोटा कुछ तो लाया हूं, इट इज नॉट वर्थ. अनु अपि उपहारितम भक्तै प्रेमना भूर्येव मे भवेत्. If my devotee brings even a small gift with love, I consider it as a great offering. Bhuri api bhakto paritam name toshaya kalpate. But if a non-devotee gives me big gifts, I am not happy and satisfied. So therefore, Lord is satisfied with simple things. He doesn't need, all the big offerings. If you have, you give it. If you don't have, no problem. Lord is satisfied with patram pushpam phalam toyam. One, it is all in singular tense, One flower, one leaf, one fruit, because Lord is fearful. Jada uno dega nahi. Patrani pushpani ne, patram pushpam phalam toyam. So that's how, if we water the root of the tree, then naturally everybody is satisfied. Otherwise, if somebody doesn't serve the Lord, there is no benefit. And whoever doesn't give, his something to the Lord, then he's an ungrateful person. Because whatever we have received from the Lord. Tam sukharadhyam rijuvir ananya sharanairinvir kritagya ko na seveta duranadhyam sadhuvir. Only an ungrateful person will not serve the Lord. So therefore, Swayambhu Manu is telling, please serve the Lord, because if Lord is pleased, then everybody will be satisfied. So Manu, he gets a doubt, he gets a question that, okay, you are telling me that procreate, but the problem is, you are in Satyaloka. And by the time Brahmaji, he gave the instructions, Mother Earth, entire Bhumandal sank into Garbhodak ocean. And Brahmaji was not aware of it. So therefore, Swayambhu Manu, he is speaking the next verse because it is not there. So he just tells. So Brahmaji, he asks a question to Swayambhu Manu. Do where the previous living creatures were there? Where was the home for the previous Kalpa people? So Manu says, yes, I know, but the problem is that place is not there. The Bhumandal has gone into Garbhodak ocean. Please retrieve Mother Earth so that I can put my children there. There is no place for them. So therefore, he says, I accept your order, but please retrieve the earth, which is my residence. So after this, the two types of incarnations, two Varaha incarnations will be described. One comes in first Manvantara and second comes in the sixth Manvantara. So the first Manvantara is called as Swayambhuva Manvantara and the sixth Manvantara is called as Chakshusha Manvantara. So although if you read Bhagavatam in this chapter, you will not see a distinction. Maitreya Muni combines these two Varaha incarnations and he speaks in a sequence. But Chakravarti Thakur describes there are two Varaha incarnations. So we'll discuss about that in the next class. So we'll stop here. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Prabhupada ki jai. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Anybody has any questions?
What chapter?
We are on 13th chapter.
Canto 1.
Third. Okay, so I think there.
Yes, you're saying about Visarga.
Hmm.
There you described this, aquatics, plants, reptiles, and animals and all. So where do insects come? You do not find insects classified.
So there are further creations also which happen, just like it will come that Daksha, he married Asikni and he created 60 daughters. And those 60 daughters, they became the mothers of each and every living entities, insects, reptiles, birds. That's why Garuda is called as, who is the mother of Garuda? Garudaji. Her name is Vinata, So Bhagavad Gita, the word is used now. Vainateyascha Pakshinam. Vainateya is Garuda. So Vinata is the one of the daughters of this Daksha. So that's how it will come in the fourth canto, how all the species of life, they are created by the 60 daughters of Daksha. So first secondary creation happened and then further creations also were happening. Because so many living entities, they have different types of desires to accommodate everybody. Creations are happening.
What sequence do they come? Or aquatics?
I'm not sure about that. So, but first aquatics, and then amphibians and reptiles, and then animals, and then humans. Of course, before plants also.
This Neelavara and Shvetavara, it's not very clearly mentioned in the Bhagavatam.
Yeah, it's not mentioned. That's what I told. It will come. Chakravarti Thakur describes in detail about this. We'll discuss in the next class in detail about this.
So it is there in other scriptures or?
It is there in Bhagavatam commentary. Yeah. Chakravarti Thakur writes Okay, so we'll stop here. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna, Shri Prabhupada ki jai, Granth Raj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai.